Today's video, we're going to talk about your competitors and how they can destroy your business, website, campaigns, all of it, if they wanted to do it to you. At any time, they can do these things to you. These 10 things that I've highlighted are all attacks that your competitor can do against your business, and you have no defenses, so to speak, against it. Or should I say, to stand correct, a few different defenses, but there's no defenses against all the stuff they can do towards you. I'm going to show you why they can do all these things to you, such as take your website down, make your email not work anymore, make your phone not work anymore, get your website off of Google rankings, get your business off of Google Business, and on and on and on. I'm going to go through what all these different exploits are that people are doing against our clients, so you understand if it's happening to you in the future, what it is that is happening to you, and then what you can go about doing for each one of these things if it is happening to you as well. My name is Corey Zyman, owner of Guaranteed PPC. It's an advertising agency that manages ads for clients and guarantees the results, just like the name says. We do not charge our clients fees until we can get you a certain minimum lift in your profitability of your ads up front in excess of what the management fee that we charge is, showing you what kind of quality of services and the experience level that I have myself giving you the information here on today's video. Been doing online marketing and running online businesses myself for 20 years now, 10 of which is also through the advertising agency that we've ran, where I've dealt with hundreds upon hundreds of companies and seen the stuff I'm sharing with you here happen to our clients, usually when it's already too late, it's already happened, and months after it's happened and they lost a lot of money, whereas you could be abreast of these things, have defenses set up, or at least monitor the stuff that's going on so you can go ahead and rebound from it as quickly as possible and before it actually takes you out of business, which would be obviously the last thing you'd want. So with that said, of these things I'm telling you here, like I said, I will go through what it is, how it works, how to defend yourself against it, how to tell if it's happening to you, so you can effectively deal with each one of these things individually. If you watch to the end of the video, I will give you some information about just how much more profitable your business will be over the long run if you actually set up defenses for each one of these things, as well as how much you can actually take away from a so-called competitor. Not advocating that you do this to your competitor, but what it could do in terms of how much money it can cause somebody to lose if they were actually done towards somebody. And so you get the full big picture here of what's going on. So with that said, the first thing on this list that a competitor could potentially do to you if they wanted to, and they don't need to see this video to know how to do it, there's enough people out there that know how to do it, is removing you from the Google search results. I'm talking about the organic search results. The organic free listings you get on Google, if you get traffic from there through a fake DMCA takedown request from Google saying that your business is violating some sort of copyright from somebody else that wants to do this to you, your website will be taken completely, not pushed down, but completely wiped off the search results on Google altogether, all your rankings. So if you're relying on, let's say, 30% of your business revenue coming in from the organic traffic, ultimately you can know that can disappear at any time if you have somebody who knows about this and wants to actually obviously do it to you. My goal isn't to keep you up at night with these things because frankly, most of this stuff is rare that it happens. The more money that's at stake, though, out there to be made in your business niche, the more likely it is to happen to you. Naturally, there's just more at stake. Just like, you could, if you're in the pharmaceutical industry, you're going to be attacked by people in that industry just trying to do anything that could take away revenue from those bastards selling medications and prescriptions and all that because they're making trillions of dollars at it. Whereas if you're selling a new product out there in a new industry, the chances of something happening to you of one of these things here might be 1% or less. And a lot of you guys are obviously going to fall somewhere in the middle there. For the most part, you don't have to worry too much. But that said, you shouldn't be totally clueless and not cognizant of these things. A, because if it happens to you, you want to know how to respond as quick as possible. But also B, put up defenses because there are things you can do to prevent this. To prevent the first thing here that I'm talking about, there's nothing you can do other than once it happens to you, you complain to Google and you say, I'm not really violating any copyright, and go through their dispute process, which if this happens to you, you can actually email me at my site at guaranteedppc.com and I can help push you in the right direction. This is one of the things that they can actually do to you. And when it's happened to our client in the past, because I know for sure you can do this, your website's going to be down for 2-3 weeks in the rankings, just even if you do respond right away, because the appeal process for this takes a long time. It's not something that can just happen right away. So the best defense to this is to say, just be knowledgeable about it, being out there and what you need to do in response for it, and to constantly monitor your traffic on Google Analytics to make sure, or Google Search Console to make sure your traffic is always steady so you know when to act and can respond as quickly as possible after it happens. Basically that is going to be your primary defense, other than, having dispute form ready to go so that as soon as it happens to you, you can respond right away and have a SOP set up to respond right away if it happens to you. But the bigger thing is you got to have a robust enough of a business to where if you lose 30% of your revenue or whatever percentage of revenue your organic rankings bring you, that you can take a 2 to 3 week hit on it and you're not going to go out of business. If you are in a position like that, where if you lost 30% of your revenue for a month, you can't pay your bills, and it's going to cause a cascade down of your entire business because you can't pay your staff, you can't make this money, and because you can't make this money, you can't pay this bill. You need to get your business set up to where, for the most part, you should be set up, once you're successful already, to operate your whole business for at least 6 months, assuming no revenue comes in, because you never know what's going to happen, including something like this. And you could say and stick your head in the sand and say, oh, it'll never happen to me. If it happens to you and you've taken that approach to running your business, you're going to be sorry. Second thing, removal of social videos or posts. So, this video on YouTube, all you would want to do if you hated what I'm saying here, don't like the look of my face, whatever, and wanted to get this video taken down, you just say that I'm violating copyright. YouTube has its own process for taking down information, which, by the way, the reason why they have this is there's law out there that says that a website's got to take down content if it violates copyright in general. And so all the big websites have its own process. So if you see somebody violating your copyright on, let's say Twitter, has to take that down, or you can sue them if they don't take it down. And because there's so many requests, they have an automated process. There's like a form that you go to and submit it. And because they don't have enough money or don't want to spend the money, effectively evaluate each request, they simply take the approach, we're going to take it down, better safe than sorry, or should I say we have to take it down, and we'll let the person whose content it is come back and complain as our way to see if this is a legitimate request or not. And if you don't actually do anything, it'll just stay down. So they can take down videos, posts on Facebook, whatever it is. Every website has that, copyright, trademark violation, takedown process. The third thing a competitor could do to you is they could have a bot generating phone calls and clogging your whole phone system. So how effective would you be if you rely on phone calls to set appointments and whatnot from the ad campaigns that you're running? If all of a sudden you started getting 100 calls a day, there are software out there that, robocalls, that you could literally very, very cheaply and very, very easily use a third-party service to send 100 bot calls to a website a day. It's very, very easy to do. More sophisticated players can actually have AI now make it sound like these are legitimate customers that say, hey, yes, I'd like to book an appointment. Here's my address. And then at that point in time, you legitimately would not know what are the real appointments, what are the not real appointments. I mean, you kind of could tell, because if you were really trying, you could see if it was an AI or not. But at the very least, the calls themselves would make it to where, the employee was going to be on a call, see another call comes in, have to put that person on hold. It's going to affect your business. A lot more effective when you combine it with other things, particularly when you hit that business with all of these things at the same time, or many of them, because it's going to be like a blitz on the business. They don't know how to deal with this because they're dealing with this issue. This one comes in, they're totally distracted by this issue when this issue comes up, and this issue is left to fester for a lot longer than if this issue didn't come up at all. And then when you start to add in more things at once, it compounds the effect. You could have a bot sending the email. Like once you obviously find out the sales email, you could just find that, by contacting the company, pretending like they want to be a customer, you start sending an email, 100 emails a day. Now you have to dig through 100 emails all at once. And again, it's not that much of a big deal for a business in itself. But when you have this with the phones, with taking you off of Google, it really can put a test to the business. You could also have the business marked out of business on Google Business, on your Google Business profile. This is actually coming up more and more all the time. Same thing on Bing places. My opinion on this, why this is happening, the average Joe, you may say, well, Corey, I don't believe any of this is going to happen to me because I'm just a local plumber or whatever. That my local competition isn't going to know any of this stuff or how to do it. And I beg to differ there. This is actually happening a lot in spaces like that. In fact, it's more common in a local service context than even a national e-commerce company that's making $10 million a year in sales. The reason for that is because of something called private equity. Okay? There's big money going into private equity. That private equity is buying and consolidating, as they call it, doing what they call roll-ups. Where in the HVAC space, they just go and they buy, all the HVAC companies in a local market, and through the economies of scale, they'll try to then make money, more money from these businesses than the businesses could make on their own if they weren't all working together to bulk purchase product and bulk, use one software to manage all of the places that you couldn't afford if it were just a solo guy. And what these private, and I don't have proof of this, I will say that up front. For all practical purposes, what these private equity companies are doing is they're hiring hitmen, if you will, to do a lot of it. Not to say that it's all that, I want to blame it all on that, but it's happening more and more all the time, which is why I'm making this video. Your chances of having at least one of these things happen to you, I would say is 10, 20%, if not 30%. And if you have a competitor that that really doesn't like you, your chances are more so like 30, 40, 50%. Because it's not that hard to figure out how to do this stuff. And they all have their own consultants, and those, they can easily offer those consultants, be like, how can I take this guy down? Or what can I do to this guy? And they're going to give them ideas. Your Google Business profile, all of a sudden will say closed. And how does that happen? Well, the competitor goes and they, through enough individual user accounts, mark the business as closed, and all of a sudden now Google considers it closed. Same thing on Bing places, which is the Google Business profile on Bing, which you may not say that's a big deal, but a lot of people, 10 to 20% of people in your space, when they go get a referral and they go to Bing and they type in your business name in Bing and then have your business show up, when that thing says permanently closed, they're going to say, oh, I thought, damn it, I was going to do business with them, now I'm not. And it really can damage your business because of that. Let alone, or forget about, if you rely on your business coming from the 3-pack rankings, the map rankings on Google search and on Bing search, which if they mark your business closed, that all just basically is going to go away overnight. And it's not that hard to do at all, I promise you. I haven't put this to the test to see how many individual user accounts you need to actually get a business switched from open to closed. And it doesn't matter if you're active in that account or how many people are calling you before this. They literally can get it shut down. I don't care. It's just, if they want to do it, they can do it, assuming they know how to do it and had enough user accounts to do it. But it's not that hard, because I've seen this happen 5+ times now to different businesses. So this is not very hard to do. Your defense against it is paying the hell attention to your profile and not just assuming that this can't happen to you. That means once a week an employee is checking it to make sure it still says that you're in business instead of out of business. And when it's out of business, you have to contact Google and say that you're in business again through the customer service / through your login, through your admin, okay? And you can easily get it turned back on, but what they do is they have you mark closed, and because the average business owner's got that thing could say closed for a month before they realize what's going on. And for a lot of businesses that are over leveraged, it's enough to put them out of business already. So there's that. There's software that can click your ass. This is a major issue nowadays. Back when I started doing even just consulting for clients with their pay-per-click, I started in 2014, click fraud wasn't even really an issue back then. And certainly before then it wasn't. Over the years, more and more and more and more, click fraud has become a bigger and bigger issue, mainly, as I feel, because there's more and more money to be gained by dominating pay-per-click in your market. There's more and more money into private equity buying up all these companies, so they have big dog, big hitters that are paid to, win at any cost, and paying these people as such. I don't care how you get results, just get them. And they either hit your KPIs or you're fired. And not only that, but there's software out there. I did an actual video on the click fraud software that people are using to do click fraud, and it's to the point, and anybody can do this. I don't care how unsophisticated or stupid you are, you can do click fraud against your competitor with this software. Or they could take the software and hand it to their PPC guy and say, either use this software on firing you, or to somebody in India, get them to use that software, and it can be set up in an afternoon to click your competitor's ads, and it's sophisticated. It will only click, at certain times of the day, and it'll switch the user agent on the browser so Google gets faked out, and it'll switch the IP address because it can rotate through proxies and whatnot, and do everything it needs to do to actually do what it's supposed to do, which is to drain that user's budget. And the reason why it's so effective and why people do it is because if your budget's 100 a day and it can click through your ad, that 100 a day will now, instead of lasting and having your ad show up all day long for the keywords that you're supposed to show up for, it'll now show up till 10 in the morning, and then from 10 in the morning to midnight, their ad's the only one that's showing. Particularly when they do that to all of the other competitors. Now, instead of finding out those 10 customers a day with 8 other people, now they're all 8 customers are yours, which is why they're doing it. And frankly, their goal is more so to discourage. It's like guerrilla warfare. Let's hit them hard, let's hit them heavy, and we'll do it so much right away when they come in that they'll just think Google Ads doesn't work and they'll just give up, and we have one less competitor to deal with. Literally speaking, when you come in as a new advertiser and they're waiting for any new guy to come in, load a click fraud right away. So you just say Google Ads doesn't work. And they'll even have fake form submissions along with it, which is a major tell. If 90% of the form fills you get are like, ha ha ha, blah, 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 and it's not a real person clearly, or that it looks like they're just messing around, that's probably click fraud. And because they know they can't do click fraud to some guy who's made millions with their ads already, because people generally speaking will just assume it keeps working. It's just something that was temporary. The new guy, when they come in, if they hit them right away, they'll just assume Google Ads doesn't work. And so they literally, that's what they do. Every new guy comes in, they do that. And not to say they can't get on people that have been advertising a while, they won't do it to them. They will. But they especially do it to the new guys coming in because of how effective it is to discourage and get people to just drop out before they ever have a chance to get off the ground. Because naturally, if you get them when they're coming in, they only have so much money to get this to work, most of them. And if they just drain that starting budget they had, they're out for good. Versus the guy that's running ads, it'll help that he only runs his ads part of the day now, but it's not quite as good, we'll just say. Because not everybody's tracking their ROI on an ongoing basis and so on and so forth. But anyway, so the main, and to track if you're getting hit with click fraud, best way to track is to track your results, track your leads, track your ROI, see if you're making money. If you're making money, you got to have tabs on if you're not only just on a monthly basis, but daily, weekly, is it still making money? And if it's not, then you need to dig into the traffic source. Is there anything that changed? Is there more people clicking on this keyword versus this keyword now? And I don't want to share all this, frankly, just all the secrets about it, because if I do that, the people that are doing this are going to start moving around the techniques I give everybody to be able to counter it. It's like, and then we'll have to have counters to the counters, and it's better off I just don't give all the complete details, but that in general, that's what you have to do. So, and it's to the point where if they start clicking your ads, you're not going to make money. Bottom line, I don't care if you have the best ad on the planet, you're not going to make money if the click fraud, if they start coming after you with that software, it can click faster than you can outcompete in different ways on a legitimate basis in terms of your developing your strategy more. So there's that, which, by the way, once they do just as the last thing about that, unfortunately, the best defense is once you weed out, because part of the traffic will be bot clicks. But the problem is when you weed out the bot clicks, it's going to weed out some of the good clicks. And you're going to have less potential than you had before, but at least it'll still make money on what's left. that's your best defense, so to say. And really what we do at our firm is we wait around for it to happen. If it happens, we go ahead and we weed out traffic sources that have the click fraud, that are prone to click fraud. Once we get rid of that, now the ads will be profitable from now on. But we're not going to do all the defenses up front because it takes out some of the potential we would have otherwise because of the, you have to weed out some of the good to get to the bad, if you will. The next thing to mention, your business could be marked out of area on Google Business and Google Places. So unlike what I mentioned here on number 5, sometimes these will mark you out of business. Sometimes they'll just mark your location as to some other place than it actually is. Like we just had the other day, someone did this again. Well, they'll mark your business located in the middle of the Pacific. And if people see that, they're going to say, well, I'm not going to call this guy. They're in the, this is something ain't right here. With that said, and that's actually better, the best fraud, the best attack is an attack. You can't even notice that the attack happened because it's likely to just keep happening, which is why when people hack sites nowadays, they like to hack them and change something so little you can't notice it, so it just stays on there forever. And you wouldn't notice it right away. That would be a great attack because you wouldn't notice it. Well, marking your business located in the Pacific Ocean is better than marking it closed because you're not going to notice that nearly as easily. So that's another thing they can do. You can have people do fake form submissions. So it's similar to, sending fake emails to your sales email. They could just use that same click fraud software can be used to click through your website and fill out a fake form submission. And they could do it in a delayed process. So it's not just 50 in a row. It's 1 at 3, 1 at 5, 1 at 5:15. So it mimics human behavior, is able to frustrate you at the very least to where you don't know which. Unlike the phone calls, you can kind of tell if it was a bot answering the phone. Whereas the form leads, you legitimately don't know which ones are real or not. Especially if you type in legitimate sounding form fill information, which you could easily do that. You could easily have an outsourced person in India write 1,000 different form fills and then have those submitted 5 times a day for the next, year. And, you're trying to chase down for, 5 of, and that would just be not the best. The idea to really screw with you, if you get 5 leads, they need to send you 50 fake ones. You legitimately don't know what you're doing. And it's to the point where, you're not doing as good a follow-up with the legitimate leads because there's so many bad ones. But they could do that to you as well. Seen that happen. You could have a botnet do a DDoS attack on you. So, which just stands for denial of service attack. A botnet, by the way, there's professional hacking groups out there who will go and embed a software that's free on the internet that they're giving away with spyware, basically. And that spyware, if you will, spyware is not the right term, but it'll allow, if you download the software, inside that software gives them control of that computer anytime they want it. And what they do is then they get control of that computer, they don't do anything with it. Then they do it to another person. And pretty soon they'll have access to 50,000 computers through the software that they're giving away. And then what they'll do then is they'll go to a broker person and they'll say, you can rent my 50,000 slave devices for whatever you want. That broker person will go to a businessman and say, I could take down all your competitors' websites for, if you pay me 50 grand, I'll take down your competitor's website. And when he gets it back up, I'll take it down again. And when he gets it up again, I'll take it down again, and so forth. Ultimately, if you have that going for you, then what they'll do is they'll take all 50 sites, make them visit your website all at once to overwhelm the hardware on the web hosting server that you have. And your website now, if anybody legitimate goes to there's so many fake users being served your website files, they can't be served the website files because there's physical limitations to the hosting and what it can do in terms of its bandwidth in and out of that hard drive on the server that you have and how hosting works. And so eventually they send so many fake users to the website just goes down. And if you visited your website domain, it'll just not show anything, basically. With that, there's hosting you can have with DDoS protection. That's one way to prevent this from happening to you. But even that, it's not completely foolproof. It's a misnomer. If somebody wants to DDoS you, they can do it. It's just harder to do if you have DDoS protection. They've got to do more, if you will. If you pay enough money to guys in Russia to hack your competitor's website down, you're damn well going to get it hacked down. And if not through DDoS, through some other means. DDoS is just the easiest way. There's plenty of other ways to do it as well. For instance, your contact form. Contact forms don't have a character limitation to it, to where they could just type in an unlimited characters into your first name field on your contact form, and it'll overwhelm the server that way. Whereas a website that has good security will limit the amount of characters that can be input into a field on your form. That's just one example. So DDoS is just one way to hack a site down that is really the most popular, because you can if you just go onto the internet, you can find how to rent a botnet. It's not that hard. Then you just send all the traffic to a website. It's guaranteed basically to go down. Well, particularly if they have no defense to it. Anyway, and you're not going to have DDoS protection on a server that's a shared hosting. So you're going to need your own server or virtual private server, which is going to cost you like $100 a month versus 10. And you're just going to have to not get so cheap with your hosting and make sure you get the DDoS protection on top of it. That's your best protection against it. That, and making sure you've got somebody every day in your business that's checking to make sure your website is up. Not only that, but if you get a managed server or managed VPS for your hosting, you can call the website hosting company that's providing you the virtual private server or full dedicated server your website's hosted on at any time and say, hey, my website's down, and they can get it back up and work with you in real time to get it back up. Versus if you have no managed hosting plan, you're on your own when your website gets hacked down. You don't want, and time is money, and you don't want it to take 2 days for your website to get back up to find the person that can help you sort through what the hell to do. The person at the web hosting company is the best bet because they know their systems and they're specialists in that. So that's what you would do to protect yourself against that. Finally, you have your somebody can use your domain to get you kicked off of your own hosting. If you have what they legitimately do, and this is an old hat tactic, they take your website domain and then they get an email server to send out a bunch of spam emails. And those spam emails will be like, buy penis pills, just visit this website. And that website will be your website domain. And they send out millions of different emails like that. Well, what happens is the people that get these email server admins, they'll contact the hosting company, your hosting company that hosts your website, and they'll say, hey, your website server is sending out these emails, and we're going to blacklist your server if you don't cut this guy off or stop this guy or just stop it in general. Okay? So then they'll kick you off your hosting and you didn't do anything. There's no proven that you didn't send this email. If somebody's sending out false emails with your website domain on it like that, they're going to take you off the hosting. You're not worth the $100 a month anymore. And now you have no hosting. Your website's down until you find new hosting. The best defense to this would be to make sure you have at least your website hosted in a second place, even though you don't use it. So if you were ever kicked off, you could right away go to your domain registrar, which your domain registrar should be hosted in a separate place in itself, so that you could just change the name server on your domain registration provider to point to the new hosting provider so that your website would be able to go up right away again. And naturally, there's ways I didn't even get into, like blacklisting your own email from being able to send out emails, because that would be another way to do things. If they could hack your email hosting, they could send out an email spam and then get you blacklisted on the email servers that are out there, and then you ain't sending no email to new prospective customer either. That's not going to be as common, but it is another possibility. But anyway, with that said, I probably gave you enough information here already to keep you up at night. If somebody wants you bad enough, just like if somebody wants you dead, then you ain't stopping it. The question is, how do I, so you should always think about not being a target. And I didn't even also get into like negative PR, negative reviews, which is its own separate thing. Everybody kind of knows about that. So you should always be, how do I not piss anybody off? Because there's a lot of things that can happen to you. That said, don't go overboard. I wouldn't go over. There's a balance with everything. If you say, I don't want to piss off a competitor, therefore I'll never speak bad about a competitor and explain that my product's better than them, even, that's also wrong in my opinion as well, because the risk is still relatively low And you got to be able to act boldly just to get people to understand you're the best. If you just, do what, your legal team would want you to do, which is never make any bold claims ever, you're just not going to make any money anymore. So there's a balance to this. I got people all the time that say they don't want to badmouth their competitors, even if it means showing their product in a side-by-side test with theirs to prove their product is better. That's not what I'm going to do either. For that matter, the people that are our clients, competitors, if they're pissed off at them, it wasn't because they badmouthed them. They're just jealous. So the biggest reason why you have this happen to you is because they're jealous, and so pissing them off isn't going to be what tips them over the edge to do these things anyway. So anyway, with that said, I gave you kind of what you can do about it. The main defenses is just being aware of what's going on with your website and everything, and having a way to deal with this stuff if it happens to you in advance. If you have something like this that you have questions about, if it's happening to you, you can obviously leave me a question down in the comment section. I get back to every person who leaves a comment in the comment section here. Similar to that though, also, you can reach out to me at my firm at guaranteeppc.com, and I can talk it over with you if you suspect something's happening, need some help fixing an issue like this. Or, and maybe at the same time talk about your advertising to see if you would like an actual true pro working on your ads that you're running for your company right now to get you more out of them in terms of additional profit. We can talk about that too. Yeah, don't be afraid to ask questions one way or another here. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, by the way, you should also subscribe to this channel, because I have 20 years of experience packed into the videos that I make here. It's the best information you're going to truly find on YouTube on how to really make money with online advertising for your business. Given that most of the other people talking about that exact topic are not running any ads, and or they run a couple ads and they don't have that much experience, which you got to have tons of experience to understand what works, what kind of works, what works in certain situations but not in others, to really give you real advice that's going to help you make millions of dollars running ads for your business. So if you're going to pay attention to anything, you pay attention to the information on this channel at the very least first. I also got a blog at guaranteeppc.com/blog. If you want to know the specific tools and, systems and strategies we use to guarantee results for our clients, I've got step-by-step processes there with screenshots, with everything you need to follow those systems on my blog. So if you haven't checked my blog out and you like my channel, you should check that out as well. But anyway, that is just like I said, just some of the things that could happen to you. These are all the things that are more common that I've seen, which is why I covered the 10 I chose to cover here today. Just like anything else in life, anybody who's a rising star, who is doing well, and you bypass people in your space that aren't doing so well, that are struggling, the main thing that people will be envy. And so this certainly can happen to you, which is why rich people don't show off and poor people do. Because if you're rich, people know it makes people envious to show off their wealth, so they don't talk about it. Well, being in business and taking over your industry, you're going to piss a lot of people off by default. That's just how it is. So if your goal is to be the number one person in your space, in your niche, and you're not it now, know the hate is going to come along with it in some regard. And one of these things is probably going to happen to you at some point. I mentioned 20-30% of the clients I work with have had stuff like this happen to them. If you're a local service company, it's like 90% chance one of the things is going to happen to you. And to the point where it will literally bankrupt you. I saw a foundation repair company. They started to have click fraud problems. They came to my firm to get help with it. I saw it. It was already too late. All the overhead that they had, the few months that they had, were mainly relying on Google Ads before to get all their clients. Even though I explained to them how I can help them and explain the fee that we charge, because we're not going to do all that for free to be able to help them and be able to fix the situation. Because a lot of times it's not just turn this knob and it's fixed. They didn't hire us. A couple months later, go to their website, it's down. This should really completely destroy your entire business if you don't know how to tell what's going on. A lot of people get caught up in, oh, I'm not going to pay you all that money to manage my ads. Who do you think you are? But the reality is you're not likely qualified enough to understand when stuff like this is even happening to you. And if you're not, you're better off overpaying for good help / being advised, because you never really know anymore with all that's going on out there in the business world when stuff like this can happen to you. And if you wait till it happens to you to do something about it, and then it takes time to figure out who to help figure out what's going on, and then actually come up with a plan and then execute it, it may be too late to deal with it. The click fraud alone will take a business out, because a lot of businesses rely on ads as a majority of the revenue. If your website is going to go down and people got to go to your website to turn into set an appointment or whatever, that can also take you down. Marking your business as out of business, and a third of your leads come from Google Business rankings, ranking in the 3-pack, that can be enough to take out of business. So any one of these things can be enough to take your business out, depending on how leveraged you are in your company and how much of a hit you can take based upon how many months of company expenses you have saved up in your company account. Which, like I said, if you want to be smart and with all this that I've seen, you want to have 6 months worth of expenses in that bank account, even if you have good contingency plans set up for all this, because eventually something's going to happen and you're going to have a month where you're not going to be basically making almost any revenue, and you got to be able to take that hit. I talked to an accountant before, and he said the most common reason why businesses go out of business is because they take a hit in their business at some point and they can't survive that hit. They take a hit in their revenue because something happened and they can't, they didn't have enough in savings, and then boom, they're out of business. Or you build up your sales and with it your overhead, and then if something happens to your sales because whatever, and you've been spending all the profit all along thinking nothing's going to happen, that's the number one way you got out of business. So don't be like that. A lot of people make money and then they start buying the cars and they get the fast women and all this stuff. At the end of the day, they expect nothing like this to happen to them. Best insurance to have your business, have that business for the next 20 years is to have the savings. That is your dry powder. That's your best defense at the end of the day, like I said at the start of this video, on how not to go out of business when the issue in the first place. So anyway, hopefully that made sense. I'll see you on the next one.
Remember when I said DDoS was important during this video? Well, this video here tells you how to do it.